Right, my fellow elite community traders. Now, over the weeks, I've been watching you guys evolve, go up and down as also new people come in, and also veterans who've been here for some time. So in this next installment of this video for the advanced course, I'm glad we're making this as we go, so I can twist and turn these videos based on how I see the knowledge level rise and decline in the group and in the community. So one of the main topics I wanted to touch base on is something I saw Henning do over last week, basically. And I'll post a link to Henning's post just below this video. And he took a very nice trade, but I wasn't sure if many of you guys understood why that trade was taken. So this whole video's topic is going to be talking about the state of the market. Okay, it's simple stuff coming in from the MPA lessons, but again, the simpler it is, the quicker we forget, right? And I want to reinforce that back in again to make sure you guys understand. So again, below the video, I'm going to have the link to Henning's post so you guys can see the trade, but we can discuss it here. So it was a Euro Swiss franc on the 60 minutes, right? And also, before I continue, I also want to say, apologies for the issues that we've been experiencing for Vimeo currently for our live webinars. Henning is currently turning into a religion. Half the people say, I swear I can see him and I can hear him. The other half are saying, what are you talking about? He doesn't exist. So Henning is the new religion, right? So we're getting that fixed. For now, seems like things will be back to smoothness, but the technical analysis team is still working on it, and we'll see what they say. Right, the tech support team, sorry. But for now, I think it should be solved coming this Monday. Okay. All right. So Euro Swiss 60 minutes. So let's take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look at this. So we have a market here that you need to look at as, if you're looking at it as a 60-15 trader. Okay, so if I'm just gonna assume you're a 60-15 trader, 60 minutes is generally your big boy. You're looking for where is my breach, how's the volume on the breach, and who's the guy who started it. You're looking for stuff like that information, right? But you're also looking for what is the current state of the market. So the movement goes from here to here, stops, goes from here to here, stops, here to here, stops, and then it tries to make a higher high, but does he really make a higher high? Okay, this is trying to tell you you're not in a trending market. You're not in an uptrend. You're not in a downtrend. Overall, you're in a downtrend, but you are in a range that's being developed at this state. Now, why is this very important? Why can't that just be a set 1, set 2 design? Why is the state of the market so important? Let me show you. Let me go down to the 15 minutes and I'll walk you through this. Now, if you're looking at it at this stage, when you see, okay, here's the buyer, pullback buyer. Okay, we'll start from here. So let's get rid of this. So here's a pullback coming in. We got a buyer, pullback buyer, and then the sellers kick in. So that's your divider, if you want to call it. And then you have this strong set 2 come in. Okay, we need a higher price than this, etc., etc. You guys all get the gist by now, right? You're like, okay, got it. So now we made a higher high, but for this higher high that's happened, we need this buyer to fail before we can activate our sells. Isn't that correct? But now wait a minute. This buyer started all the way down here. So what are we going to do? Wait for a price to come, take out that guy down there and take a sell from here? That's pretty low. Well, we wait for this to bounce from here, go up a little bit higher. Maybe we get a set 2 much higher. That's a possibility. So there's many variations coming at you with this, but without the idea of, wait a minute, we just came back into this making a range, and that range, as we go further, actually qualifies because it came down very aggressively. So now the trade that was very interesting is the way it pulled back from up here and he held. Now this is a money spot in the making, okay? This is a money spot in the making. The reason being is set 2, people are looking at this as, I need more information for my set 2. I want to see him die. Okay, I want to see him, go up, pull back, go up, pull back, go up, transition, yada, 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 and then fail. Now, the transition is actually happening as is throughout this whole process because it's still within that range, and we're getting a probe out of the range too. Okay? So we're not getting prices to come up higher, but rather we're getting a money spot, which is buyer territory and seller's territory with the help of the top of the range. Okay? And here's the bottom of the range. So you can see with this whole area, if you actually activate a sells, this is a very unique opportunity to say, hey, I can actually get away with that. Okay? And depending on how it comes down, if it doesn't go down smoothly, then we can decide accordingly. Okay? But at least I can attempt my sells from here, because if it goes down all the way down and takes out this guy, I'm not going to get a chance to get in properly. So this in itself is a trade also. Okay, is a trade also. So knowing the state of the market is very, very important. It's very, very important. Okay? So you want to understand before you begin is, what's the state of your big boy? Is your big boy in a trending state where it's sellers, pullback, sellers, pullback, sellers, or buyers, pullback, buyers, pullback, buyers, or is he in a ranging state? Okay, so let's do an example of a trending state, right? So we have in this scenario we have sellers coming in right here, comes back, he stops here, pulls back, goes lower. Okay, we can see he's clearly in a downtrend whenever he made a break below this low, and he is making lower lows. So now we're getting this scenario of he sells from here all the way to here, and he starts pulling back for the first time. This pullback stops here, then it stops there, and then it goes down again. For a range, you need 2 touches on the top, 2 touches on the bottom, which we never get. Okay, which we never get. So this is a proper range pullback trade for you here. Okay, all right. Let's take a look at a different scenario. Let me see if I can find you a different state in the market. Okay. In this case, let's take a look at here. Markets are going down. New breach, pullback sells come in. They stop here, and then it's like, pullback, no lower low, pullback, because of the pullback for what may look like a set 2, it's stopping at the recent low again. It's probing really, really low. It looks like it's taking off, but it's stopping there. Okay, so this is now developing into a range. That range then goes into further in, goes into a buyer's mode. Okay, goes all the way up, higher high, higher lows, higher low, and then just goes sideways after that, and then takes off again into a higher high state. So you want to always find out what is the state of your market, what can you do, how can you get in, how far is your pullbacks going to come in, etc., etc., etc. So you always want to stay on top of that. Okay, and I'm trying to see if I can find you some more examples just so you can have some visual cues on how this thing looks. Okay, again, downtrend here, got a pullback sell in here. No way that there's going to be a pullback in there if you go into the 15, and then we have a pullback that comes into here after that. So here's the new seller right here going down. The main seller is up here, but as this pulls back, it's still in this downtrend mode. And if you come in looking at it on your 60, you're like, I know I need to do a sell because this is just a pullback, but the state of this pullback is just doing this. Okay, it's down, and then now it's pulling back up. It's not in a ranging state, so that for you is a divider sell. Okay, depending on how it looks on the lower time frame, whether it's divider or set 2, but it's a divider sell for you. And then as that comes in, he stops down here and he starts pulling back. Now notice you're like, am I gonna get a price higher than this for my set 2? Or am I going to be dealing with a price like this, saying, well, what if this is a range? Do I need a higher high price? So you have to monitor this area carefully to see how it goes up. Okay, generally speaking, you will always need a price higher than this. Okay, but you want to see if it's going to probe it, come right back in because of the state it's in. Okay, if it is in a higher high, higher low state, it's a whole different story. You might get a nice higher price and then comes down. Okay, let me see if I can find you an example of that. And in fact, we just had that earlier. Where'd it go? Okay. In situations like this, where you have a seller's territory here, comes all the way down to there, pulls back for what looks like a set one, but because he doesn't come down very low, you are expecting prices to come up a little bit higher than this before you can attempt some selling, and that takes a very, very long time. Very, very long time. So your state of the market is ultra important. Let me take a look at Euro USD, see if I can find you something there. Okay, here we are, state of the markets here, uptrend here, buyers in control. Okay, and then 60 comes in, pulls back, and if you're reading this as okay, I got pullback from here and it stops here, then it pulls back to in this area, stops there, then it pulls back to that area. So currently it's in an uptrend state, but you know the story is telling you we're in a buyer's. This uptrend could be my divider coming in, okay, but the state is still in an uptrend, okay, which means you don't do your sells, you only do your buys until you can start figuring out when the story is about to fail. Okay, and then as the state changes, it becomes lower high, lower lows along the way. Okay, and then it goes sideways for a bit, pokes above the highs, and then the side and then the down continues again. So you want to be aware of the state at all times to make sure, how do you read this, what should you do, and how do you take action on your trades accordingly. So again, guys, be very, very careful with this on knowing what state you're in, so you can act accordingly on your lower time frames when you go to read it for set 1, set 2. Similar situation here, just like the Euro Swiss franc. Let's take a look at that one, dissect it a bit. Let me open it up on the 15. Here we are. So I'll move it to the side so we can zoom in. All right. So the state on the 60 was telling you it's in a downtrend, obviously, but then it was telling you it was doing this. Okay, so you're seeing some kind of a range happen here, and you're like, I need to get a better price than this, but if I'm in a range, there's a possibility I get a better price and come right back in. Okay, and if it comes right back in, we can see that, okay, well, does this mean that this is my buyer who's going up, my pullback buy didn't make a higher high, so I need a better price than this. But if you go down, if you're thinking whenever this set 2 is done, I'm going to do my sells, you're only going to get a sell price down in here. If you start thinking like that, you're never going to get a price up in this area. Okay, so you have to be careful. If you know your states, you can anticipate and not participate. All right, guys, hope this is useful. Your next video is going to be on trend pullback failures. That trend pullback failure shows up in every single trade that you do. It is something that you're going to see on your smaller time frame regarding precision. So that's what's going to be your next video is going to be about. But before we get into that, this needs to be mastered. Okay? All right, guys. Cheers.